sunrise, new day's dawning, and it's calling you and me, where the mighty Mississippi flows by Memphis, Tennessee. We've got woodlands, fields, and water. Hey, there is no better way. You can find out all about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Make some time, take the family, ask a friend, but don't delay. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Good Saturday morning and welcome to another edition of the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray, brought to you proudly by the Tennessee Wildlife Resources Agency. Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
Good Saturday morning, everybody. You're listening to Outdoors with Larry Ray right here on ESPN AM 790 and 92.9 HDFM in Memphis, WNWS AM 1520 and 95.3 FM in Brownsville, and News Talk 101.5 FM in Jackson, Tennessee. Unfortunately, our Oracle of the Outdoors could not make it, so here's some of the best of 20 years of Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Hey, welcome back to Outdoors with Larry Ray as we share a little knowledge on this Saturday morning on July the 17th, 2021, about a subject that I don't normally talk about during the summertime. We're too busy talking to bass fishermen and all these other people and getting the duck blinds ready and whatever it might be. But I've wanted to do this, and in fact, one of the guys sitting next to me in the studio kind of spurred me on with the idea of talking about summertime crappie fishing in the Mid-South. And as we've talked about, Mike Parker and Robbie Jordan are in the studios. Robbie goes to church with me and a longtime friend and a really good crappie fisherman. And I know he's brought Mike along to be his interpreter in case I don't understand anything. But they're going to kind of sit in and join in on the conversation. But I couldn't think of a better guy to start this conversation with on this Saturday morning at 6:30 in the morning than the man himself, my good friend Ronnie Capps. And I've captured him. I'm sure he's either going out on the water here in a little while or he's already out on the water. You folks know Ronnie and Steve Coleman for all the great success that they've had in crappie fishing. And we talked a little bit beforehand with Mike Parker about life scope. And I wish you guys visualize Ronnie Capps' boat and then think of Fred Flintstone and the and the difference between the old days and today's days, because it's really remarkable. Good morning, Ronnie. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Yeah, good morning, Larry. All good, man, down here at Reelfoot.
Yeah, well, talk about this summertime fishing. I know you're doing it, and I know, hey, nobody duck hunts anymore than Ronnie Capps, Mike. I can tell you that. I mean, and I've been in the blind with Ronnie and all of them up there, but talk about the difference and what are you doing now compared to what you might. Everybody thinks, as I told these guys, a lot of people think you can only catch crappie in the spring and the fall. Well, you guys have proved that's not right. So talk about the transition here and where you are today.
Lots to talk about there. You know, Larry, summertime fishing is a little bit different. However, with the technology at hand these days, I see more people doing it than ever before. The boat ramp is I got out before some of them got here.
Yes,
a little bit earlier, but anyway, it's jammed up in the summertime, in the summer months even.
Amazing.
But you know, basically just downsizing baits and using the technology at hand. This scope has been a game changer for everybody, and it's a whole new way of fishing. And you know, when you can see the fish and do different things to get him to bite your hook, it don't take long to figure out a way to catch a few. So it's entertaining. It's just been a complete turnaround from what we knew as going out and catching crappie in the summer.
Well, I know. Let me interject in that because I can remember something you said one time about the man who taught you how to fish. If I'm not mistaken, it was your grandfather Parker.
That's right.
Mr. Parker. And what would he think about what's going on now?
He'd roll over in his grave, Larry. You know, there's no question about it. This is a completely different ball game now. I mean, it's if you want to compare it to something in my eyes, I loved to bow hunt when I was a kid and grew up bow hunt. I killed them with a gun, but it was a real sport to kill one with a bow. And anymore, it's like going spotlighting at night with a deer hunting with a 300 Magnum.
Yes,
That's what I want to compare it to, I guess.
Yeah, well,
it's that much difference, you know, with and without the live scope is what I'm referring to. But, it's crazy.
It's crazy, and tell our listeners a little bit about the boat you fish out of now.
Well, I'm running a Bass Cat now, and you know, it's a little faster than my old Ranger was, and we do have it rigged out for a dual scope setup. I mean, there's two of us typically fishing on the front, and we remain seated. A lot of people want to stand up these days. I'm getting older every day, and I still like to sit down, but it works fine whichever way you want to go about it. But as long as you can see that screen well and be able to navigate and you know, put a bait on a hook, on a fish that you can see on that screen, it's all about accuracy anymore.
Yes.
You know, the raw bone crappie guys back in the day that knew where to put a jig and how to hold it and this and that is a thing of the past. I mean, it's all about accuracy. Everybody knows what a crappie looks like on the screen, and once you see him, it's basically putting the hook on the fish. It's the name of the game. You know, the guy that spends the most hours on the water practicing putting his bait on the target is basically the people that are winning, that are in the winning circle these days, and who can do that for an 8-hour period and do it the best. I mean, that's what it's coming down to. And
you mentioned a word there. You mentioned a word that Mike had mentioned earlier, target. This is target fishing now. I mean,
that's it. That's all it is. I mean, it's no question. You know, we have a complete view of what's under the water and in any lake, and you know, you can in 10 minutes time know the depth range that the crappie are wanting to be at and kind of how they're acting, and you know, whether they're aggressive or not. I've already caught 4 or 5 fish this morning here, and what I've been doing is pitching a number 4 hook, number 4 Gamakatsu with a live minnow, a tiny live minnow.
Yeah,
on
tiny.
Them.
Okay.
And it's almost something that'll get them almost any time in the summer. And I know you can catch them on artificial only or any way you want to, but typically when I run into a big fish that's pretty smart and done been tried a time or two, that little minnow on a tiny hook and a split shot will usually he'll get him in trouble. So that's one reason I do that, but that's just what I'm using this morning. But anyway, it's definitely a different crappie world than it used to be.
And again, we're talking to our good friend Ronnie Capps from Reelfoot Lake. He and his buddy Steve Coleman, long-time dynamic duo here, Batman and Robin. I don't know which one. I think I know which one's Batman, but I won't tell him because I know how much they mean to each other. And, of course, fishing out of Reelfoot, summertime fishing for crappie, any different from when you might from, say, the other times of the year during the summer?
Yeah, you know, Larry, we had a great spring this year, and you know, fish were typically in about 6 to 8 foot of water on a lot of horizontal structure. I'm talking about logs laying on the bottom.
Yes.
And those were real popular during the spawn, and they always are for about 2 months right there in April and May and even into the first part of June. But at this point in time, fish are easing out of that shallower water. Yeah. Back out in 9. I'm in 8.9 this morning. You know, 9 to 11's a favorite of mine here at Reelfoot, but a lot of people are congregating down south of me here in about 14 foot of water. Fish are everywhere out in the lake. It's just a matter of, you know, where you want to go. But with this scope, you can find them and get an idea of where they're suspending. And you know, some of them are suspended out away from structure. Some of them are on structure. Typically, the bigger fish are on the structure always, but not always. But here at Reelfoot right now, they are.
Well, I know a lot of people may not realize what you guys have accomplished. It's pretty amazing. What's that? I know at one time you and Steve had held that record for a 3-pound crappie from 6 different states. Now,
yes.
Is that still the same? Is that still?
Yeah, that is. I hadn't scored another state yet, but that was just a 3-pound crappie back in my childhood and teenage years was a record in anybody's book. Just one.
Yeah.
So but we wasn't from Mississippi either around here. But I have done very, very well without the scope over the years. And I can't imagine how many people are going to get to enjoy catching a 3-pound crappie with the scope once it matures. It's in its embryo stages, but for a lot of people, they just hadn't.
I know Mike was saying you don't just get this out of the box on Friday and go to the lake on Saturday. He was because this is a learning experience. Again, to be able, and we've talked about the equipment and folks. I just stood there and talked to Ronnie last time I saw him standing next to his boat, and I was just marveling. I could still see my uncle in a John boat sculling out there and catching crappie, and he did catch crappie. But today's time, and of course, Ronnie is part of the American Crappie Trail, which we have been really involved with on Outdoors with Larry Ray, and that's added another whole nother ball of wax, so to speak, for crappie fishing. But they don't have tournaments in the summer, so that
not so many. I just fished at Truman Lake up in Missouri, and had a reasonable finish there with some top-notch fishermen, and that place is so big you'd never fish it in a lifetime. And I enjoy going to other places that just crappie are different in other lakes. And what happens here at Reelfoot don't necessarily hold true down south or in any other lake. But they kind of got different attitudes, and they always will have. But I day in, day out, I'm amazed still at the technology, and I can't imagine something getting better, but I'm sure it probably will. I know I'm upgrading stuff a little bit.
Still upgrading
at the moment. I'm still updating, and I got Cornfield Crappies building me basically a particular mount for being able to put a new unit on the front of my boat here, and
really?
just basically for being able to see better, and that's that's the name of the game. Your eyes can't leave a screen anymore. It's almost like a surgeon operating on you looking at a camera, and.
Well, it may be like the robots. We don't need doctors. We may just put a robot on the front of your boat and say, that's Ronnie Capps out there, I don't want to do anything. You guys got a question you'd like to ask Ronnie here?
Well, yesterday, while we were finishing down at Arca Butler, Mike and I, we talked about the very thing Ronnie's talking about here. People invest in a $3,500, $4,000 unit. When will that unit be obsolete and something better out? Now I worked enough years. I know electronics, and I know you order a computer on the internet today, and when it gets to your front porch, it's
obsolete.
It's obsolete,
and so is the automobile.
Sure.
So I just don't know how long crappie fishermen can stand that.
Shoot. What we have now, it's definitely a workable unit that'll always work now that you have that technology. It's just a matter of basically getting a better view, I think, for most people right now. And, that's kind of what I was striving for, a little bit better view. And,
that's what you need.
They actually do have a better unit. It's about $7,500 right now out. And, at 8600 series, but it's basically just a bigger screen and a clearer view of what you're looking at, and it means everything when you have a great view too.
Well, we got to get out of here, Ronnie. I appreciate you taking this time on Saturday morning to be with us. Ronnie Capps, buddy, have a great day, and we'll stay in touch, okay, man?
It's already been a good one. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Appreciate any time, man.
Okay, buddy. Let's take a break. I know we're running a little behind. Shelby's looking at me. Here we go. We'll take a break, come right back, and we'll have to cut into Ron Wong's time on the next segment. We'll be right back.